everybody. Welcome back to the Brothers Take podcast. I'm Chris. I am joined once again by my brothers, Adam
Hello.
and Eric.
Hello.
We are back in the room this week, revisiting one of our favorite video game series of all time, Metal Gear Solid, because we did episodes of this very early on in our podcast. Each entry had its own discussion. So if you haven't checked those out, first of all, you got to go back and check those out. But this was kind of spurred on by myself and Eric have tried out PlayStation Plus Premium.
Mm-hmm.
Eric, how you finding that so far?
All right, I got a few games off. I still haven't tried out Stray,
Right.
because Valhalla has just taken up my time.
Oh, cool.
Assassin's
Okay.
Creed Valhalla.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm actually enjoying that. So yeah, I thought it was quite cool. I was a little bit kind of slightly let down by the fact that I expected more games,
right.
not just on the kind of PS4, PS5 era, but even with the classics. I was expecting
Yes.
there's some games there I was a bit like, I don't remember playing like any of these or
Sure.
ever even hearing of them. It's a weird selection.
Well, this is where this has come up, right? Because I went into first thing I checked actually was the classics catalog, because that really interested me. I want to see what's there. And the lack thereof of Metal Gear Solid. And I mean any of them. None of them are on it. Even if you go into the PS4 section, the Phantom Pain's not there. Now, I'm not personally into the Phantom Pain, but it's just surprising. Metal Gear Solid, a series that's synonymous with early PlayStation. It's like, why is it not there? Like, this is weird, right? So then I decided to look into it. And something that we totally missed, but you guys probably saw, or at least some of you probably saw, was that last month, on July 13th, was actually the 35th anniversary of the Metal Gear franchise. And the official Metal Gear Twitter put out a tweet, not only to mark the anniversary, they said, "Thank you to everyone that enjoyed and celebrated the series so far. We ask for your patience as preparations are underway to make the temporarily removed titles available again." I was like, wait, what? Why? What does that mean? So I looked into it further. So we're going to talk about that. And then we're going to talk about the fact that they're saying that they're going to make them available soon. We're going to talk about that too. And also other things we'd like to see from the Metal Gear Solid franchise moving forward. But we'd love to hear from you guys as this discussion goes on too. So if you guys watch this on YouTube, make sure to jump down in the comments, share your thoughts at any point on anything we bring up or anything we don't that you feel is crucial and you want to have your say and your take as well. And while you're here, why not give the video a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and ring that notification bell for all future content. If you guys listen to this on audio platforms, and you could also touch base on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Brothers Take, again, to give your take on everything that we bring up here today. But without further ado, let's talk Metal Gear.
Greg Kinnear.
I've actually as well at the same time. There's been a lot of Metal Gear Solid going on in my head lately.
What the hell?
What the hell?
Who the hell?
But I've actually been listening to a podcast called Resident Arc. It's actually one of my favorite podcasts. I check them out quite a lot. And what they do is, which is something that I really enjoy, they will take a game. Resident Arc is the name of the YouTube channel, but State of the Arc is the podcast, right? And really, they examine it. They do talk about gameplay and all that stuff, but really, they examine any game from the story perspective. So they never really talk about like multiplayer games or any of that. They take a single player experience and then they literally dissect the narrative and then talk about what they feel works in narrative, what doesn't. So it's really fun for those kind of narrative experience games. And they're going through Metal Gear Solid at the moment, the original, the PlayStation 1.
And they don't have enough episodes for that game.
Well, no, they've broken it up into a few episodes. It takes 2 episodes before they get into any of the content of the game. I think the first episode was all the background info of like the first 2 Metal Gear games and just like background on Hideo Kojima and stuff that it feels like this is context and it's all very important. to kind of know going forward, because they've not only mentioned this stuff, but also like you kind of need to know Kojima, right? You kind of need to know what he's like when you get to this wacky shit that comes up.
Mm-hmm.
But then the second episode is all on the briefing. And they go into great detail on just the briefing, which is something that I didn't see for years. It's it.
Yeah.
And there's like stuff in it I totally forgot about. Like Snake lives with like 50 huskies, and
Has long hair. I think he has
has
like
long
long
hair. He
It looks
does,
like it's blonde.
yeah, because he looks like Liquid then, right?
Yeah.
But one of the things that they brought up, so they brought up some interesting facts that I didn't know about that I wanted to bring up with you guys while we're here. And that is, I thought some of the actors, if you'll notice, right, you go back and you go, that actor, that's not the same actor that's been playing the character since then, right? It's a different name.
Mm-hmm.
However, it is the same actors, but they used different names, and nobody knows why. Right. So if you play Metal Gear Solid 1 on the PlayStation 1,
yeah,
right, a guy called Patrick Lane plays Revolver Ocelot. That's the name that comes up in the brackets. And you're like,
I believe it's
who's Patrick
Zimmerman.
Lane? Yeah, when you Google it, it is Patrick Zimmerman. But back then he was called Patrick Lane for some reason. If you, it's the same with like Otacon is called Christoph Fritz in the original,
really?
Instead of Christoph Randolph, but it's the same guy. The guy who plays Cyborg Ninja, I think he's quoted in the original game as, is it George Bird? But his real name is Greg Eagles. And the guys at the podcast were trying to look up, like, why did they no one can seem to find, like, what's the reason for the
You've played
the same
this
with yeah, and yeah, no, and I can verify that is true.
And I don't remember that at all.
As well, they backed it up anyway with footage as they're talking.
Right.
Same with the guy who plays Liquid Snake. Like, it is Cam Clark, but in the original PlayStation 1 game, it doesn't say Cam Clark. And I have no idea why or
maybe
what the
they
reason
actually just
for
gave you the motion capture actors' names.
No, genuinely, because then if you Google that name, well, first of all, if you Google that name, no one will come up. But then if you Google that name, Metal Gear Solid, their real name comes up. It's I don't get it. I don't know. Was it maybe a thing that there was their first time doing a video game and they didn't want to, like, they were worried about it doing well and they didn't want to taint their... I have no
memory of a Patrick Lane coming up on my screen.
I swear to God. Or maybe it's just Pat Lane.
Because it's a different voice actor then from 2 onwards.
No. What I'm saying is it is Patrick Zimmerman.
No, I know that. But that's what I'm saying is that that's the only time I've ever seen Zimmerman on screen, is what I'm saying.
Was MGS2?
Are there different... No, with MGS1. Because it's not MGS2.
It is.
Is it?
Yeah, it is. It's Patrick Zimmerman from then on. But the confusion was, it's like, who voices these characters in the original game? Now, David Hayter, his name is David Hayter at all times. No matter what. That didn't change, yeah. It's not everyone, but some of them, for whatever reason. And I was just wondering, like, would you have any ideas as to why that would be, other than maybe that they were worried about their career? I don't know.
Could be a worry thing, yeah. Often as well, actors change their names.
Because video games weren't big at the time.
No.
So...
And this was a game that very much stepped out of the usual comfort of what those video games did at the time. Because they weren't very movie-like the way Hideo Kojima was making it. So yeah, they could have had a different name. And then once they got recognized, changed it to be a much more actor-style name. Maybe when they got signed or something like that. Or is it the other way around? Is it that is their real name, and afterwards they've changed it for a stage name? That's what I just said.
Possible, yeah. Oh, sorry, I thought you were saying the other way around. Which is
no, I meant. Well, either way, like either way, it doesn't matter. Like that they either had a stage name.
One of the names is a stage name, is what we're saying.
Yeah, one of the
right. That's anyway. I will find a list of I'll actually share it with you. I'll get screenshots of so that you know it, like it's in brackets under their name, but it is weird. But it's interesting. That's something that I was like, I never thought of that, and they brought it up, and it was kind of cool.
That's strange, right?
But
I'm wondering, am I just getting mixed with
Twin Snakes?
But possibly. I don't know. I recall playing
Could it be that there's different versions of the PS1?
I don't know
Because
because
I only
well,
have the platinum version. I don't have the original disc, which I
right.
think you have, don't you?
I don't. I was playing on the PlayStation Classic, which is you would imagine is the platinum version of the game, right? Put into it. I don't
Okay,
know, but it has those names.
that's
so
odd.
um,
That's
so
bizarre.
yeah, it was interesting. It struck me as something that I never like as many times as I've played Metal Gear Solid. I never stopped to go. Maybe I should Google that fucking name.
Yeah, who the hell is he?
Who the hell? But anyway, I suppose the thing that kind of spurred this whole topic, the tweet about the games being temporarily removed from
Hmm.
all services. Do you guys already know why that was, or were you already privy to that?
Um,
I wasn't anyway.
I I think when I saw the tweet, there was no surprise there because obviously Konami are being a bit strange
Yeah.
with all of their properties.
Yeah.
And there was always going to be an issue with a couple of them, like MGS1, which was pretty much tied to the PS1, MGS4, which was a PS3 exclusive. Um, so they were never going to get MGS3 or MGS4 really on the PS5 without it streaming, which is not ideal.
No.
So I imagine they are wanting to pull all of them and kind of repackage them in a way that modern consoles can actually play them.
Yeah.
But I'd imagine that means PlayStation's going to lose the exclusivity of MGS4, which would be a bit weird considering there's so many tie-ins in the game
Mm-hmm.
itself about the PS3.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, apparently the reason, and this goes for some of the games more than others, but the reason that they had to be temporarily pulled initially, is that there's historical footage in the games,
Oh,
and they've lost the licensing agreement to use that historical footage. And that's the reason they were all pulled immediately. And
oh my
and
god.
so I don't know if they have to rebuy that or are they going in and working on replacing that footage with footage that's in game instead.
Well, luckily that's not many,
I don't
is
know.
it? That's
No,
one and
no, no,
two. Bit of three.
and three, but I don't think it's
I don't
four.
think four has.
No, four is complete. I'm pretty sure that's completely like
Yeah, four onwards. I think.
fictitious.
Yeah, five a little, or sorry, three a little bit, but not
Mm-hmm.
much.
I would have thought three was the most actually. There's quite a lot of
I think one is.
like
No,
shots of the
think,
Cuban Missile Crisis and all this kind of
yeah,
stuff,
but
right?
I think one is because like one is like you take a step and then it's like, oh, let me tell you the history of shoes.
Two would be the easiest to fix up, right? Because that's really only the end, and it's not necessary.
Yeah, yeah. But as
Wait, that's
well,
just footage of like a building. Like, there's no way it's like,
No, there's
oh, you
people
lost.
walking. There's people walking on the streets.
Oh yes, I forgot about the people
Yeah,
walking
yeah.
on the streets. Just blur out their faces, it'd be grand.
Just remove it. It's not needed. I think that would be a good opportunity. Like, I don't mind if they got rid of the real life footage. I think MGS1 is the only one that might suffer a little bit because that help keep one foot in reality a bit.
right?
But it would be a cool opportunity to have that iconic, the codec style illustrations in place of.
Yeah, well, yeah. If it was done like, that's what I was thinking. Like, if they went in and they kind of recreated the historical footage, but in a stylized manner where you're not using the real footage.
Mm-hmm.
And that way you'll never fall into this problem again. Because I mean,
that is
it's
silly.
I didn't know about it, and now it kind of makes sense. But I also wonder then, it's like, we have a why pull some of the other ones? Now you can get, I mean, obviously you can go online, you can get the Phantom Pain and Ground Zeroes, you can get those, but none of the other ones.
All right, so the HD collection is gone.
Yeah, you can't get that
Wow.
because I've hooked up my PlayStation 3 so I can play the HD collection again. Because I just got Metal Gear mad, but like, yeah, it's just crazy to me that. But then I'm wondering, so that was just nearly a month ago, they announced that they're going to work on bringing these back. Do you think, given that it is the 35th anniversary of Metal Gear as a franchise, do you think they will get them back out before this year is over? Like, do you think they'll prioritize in that way, or like, who knows when we'll see these again?
We'll definitely get at least one out. Can't be that. Like, because they don't have to
Yeah.
redo the whole thing.
Yeah. But I think that's why that's why you can't get 4, right? Like, even in that streaming way, I think they're going to repackage all of this. Like, take it all off and put it all back on in one, like, swooping kind of.
Well, they would have known that though before the 35th anniversary, so they were probably already working on it before that was ever even said.
That makes sense. Yeah.
They're probably already working on it before they even pulled the games.
I have no faith in Konami to come up with a solution by the end of the year.
Wow.
Not at all. I think they were really only using the 35th anniversary as an opportunity to send that tweet out. Like, I think that's how much that shit seems to care. Like, that matters to them. This franchise, because why would you allow a license to go off, or why wouldn't you be working out trying to repackage and sell these again? Like the way everyone else is treating their properties.
Yeah, like why wasn't this fixed before it ran out?
Yeah.
Right, I get you.
But they're so they've neglected the series like long ago. So yeah, I imagine.
What are you talking about, man? They made Metal. Sorry, I forgot that you can get Metal Gear Survive. you can get that. Oh my god, I found that insulting when that was announced.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I have no stake in it really, other than I'm a huge fan of the series. But I felt personally attacked.
Well, it just goes to show like that's how much that series means to them. Like, really, they don't really give a fuck. They're just looking to try squeeze that Fox engine, try to sell as much as they can with it.
Yeah, possibly. But then they haven't done anything with it since, though.
Yeah, that's why they never tried to do like
using. Trying to think, did they use it for Pez or something like that? I think they did.
Oh, did they? Wow, that's where it needs to be used.
Yeah,
I was just thinking like it would have been better used on like
after all
Castlevania or something like that.
Sure, they haven't touched Castlevania even.
Well, here's the interesting thing, right? I actually, on first glance, thought there was no Konami on the game's catalog, and I thought that's weird. Why is there no Konami? Like, it's just weird. Having gone through again, there are 3 Castlevania games.
There are
on it. Now it's the kind of Lords of Shadow era stuff, right? So it's not Symphony of the Night, or it's not anything like that. Is this? Is it? I don't think Symphony of the Night was there.
Maybe not Symphony of the Night, but it is. There is 2 side-scrolling ones. One of them you do play as a la carte, and then there's Lords of Shadow 2 is on it.
Yeah, Lords of Shadow 2 is
not the first one, which I was like, that's weird. Why release the second
one? But then was there not one called like Lords of Shadow Mirror something or something like that? And I was just wondering, is that an edition of the first game?
Could be. I think it was
with the DLC or something there. Like one of the like.
I think I read the description of it, and it kind of sounds like a battle arena mode or something. I could be wrong.
Oh, but who knows? Who knows? But so this is the interesting thing. So there is some Konami games there, right? Yeah. Not necessarily every Castlevania game or whatever, but there's no Metal Gear Solid, which makes sense. Or at least there is not that it makes sense, but there seems to be a reason for that if you look into it. And there's no Silent Hill.
There's no Silent Hill.
None of the Silent Hill games are on it. And I don't know why. I have no idea why. Other than, are they waiting to announce it all in a big return kind of mode thing? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, if you go back to, I haven't really been keeping up with Konami since they've pretty much fired Kojima, but after the Metal Gear Survive, and I think that performed quite poorly, they pretty much said that they were going to focus on mobile and pachinko machines, right? That's what they've done. And actually, recently enough, there was a video of the Fox engine, Shadow Moses in the Fox engine, and that trailer was for a pachinko machine.
Oh
It was
God,
yeah, it was
why you do this?
very successful. And I know they have their latest Castlevania. I think it's called Grimoire of Darkness or Shadows. I don't know, one of them. But that's
Right.
an exclusive to Apple Arcade, right? So that's a mobile game. So you can only
Yeah.
play that if you subscribe to that service. So my fear would be that the Metal Gears being pulled is that they're not going to do anything with it, and actually they're going to look at avenues such as the kind of the mobile pay every month kind of
Right. Well, and
model.
that is Konami, right? Like
Yeah.
Konami's biggest money makers, like back in the day, was even like pinball machines and stuff.
Mhm.
Like, and they were actually when Kojima first started working with them, they were like one of the biggest. Like they were huge at the time, and that's why he went to work with them of all people, because he was like, if I say I'm working with them, it sounds impressive because it's Konami, they're massive. So it's interesting how over time though it's like people even forget. It's like, Konami, are they a game developer? Like, did they make anything? I don't know. They don't seem to have that name in like the gaming sphere now as like say Naughty Dog, or Santa Monica or Gorilla or these kind of people, you know. So would you want Konami to make future Metal Gear Solid games?
No. I would want them to license it out, and they can obviously strike a deal there where they can still make profit off of it.
Yeah.
But whether that's to make a deal with Microsoft or Sony, I don't really care which one. Get one of their studios to work on the next, if there's going to be a next Metal Gear, or just a redo of some previous ones.
I don't think Metal Gear Solid needs any more.
Right.
That was one of the issues I kind of had with 5 was this isn't needed.
Mm-hmm.
But I was blinded by the fact that it was Metal Gear Solid, so I was like, "Oh my god, it's going to be the best thing ever."
Right.
And it wasn't, and it really wasn't needed. But yes, I think a nice little remake there now wouldn't be
Yeah,
so
because
awful.
you've got so many, isn't it? Like, I mean, just start with Metal Gear, go back to the basics.
Metal Gear 2, Metal Gear Solid, Metal Gear Solid 2, Metal Gear Solid
You know,
3, Metal Gear Acid, Metal Gear Acid 2.
Metal Gear Solid Ghost Babel.
You just go straight for it though, and you remake Metal Gear Solid, right?
Can't do that.
I don't know.
Like, don't get me wrong.
No,
I
one
would
would understand. You have to set Metal Gear.
I'd be really excited for a Metal Gear and a Metal Gear 2 remake. I think that'd be fantastic. But I think it would excite people far more to do Metal Gear Solid remake.
Well,
it's kind of like,
yeah,
it's like, yeah, I'd love a Final Fantasy VI remake. And it's an older game, so it deserves the remake first.
It's a little different than that.
It's only different
I'm thinking about it
because of chronology.
I'm thinking from the Capcom Resident Evil, the way they've approached the remake series.
Sure.
And yeah, you could say the same thing where it's like remaking 4, like go straight to it, like, but they didn't,
they skipped Code Veronica though.
Yeah, but Code Veronica isn't exactly a moneymaker.
They remade 2, right? 2 arguably was people, other than Ori 4, was people's favorite Resident Evil game.
I know, but
right?
they did do 1 before that though. Like, they did remake 1.
Yeah, but how many people say Metal Gear is their favorite Metal Gear game?
No, I know no one says that, but I just thinking the long game is like, if you start with Metal Gear Solid and then eventually go back to remake Metal Gear, whereas you can build up old fans and new fans, you can build new fan base leading up to Metal Gear Solid. You know it's going to be the third one anyway, so
crazy idea.
Wild.
You do all 3 of them in one package.
No, what, are you crazy?
That that's
a remaster idea though. That's not a remake.
You actually probably could be able to do Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2 into one game, because I don't
into
know
one game maybe.
I don't know if there's apart from the gameplay, there's not much to those games. And when I mean gameplay, I just mean the the back and forward kind of avoiding the guards bit. That's the bit that makes it take a while, but apart from that, there's not much to it.
But then a remake would look nothing like that original game anyway, right? Like it would, and it wouldn't play anything like that original game.
No,
do you know?
Well, I a whole new game.
It would have to be. I probably
But I do
wouldn't
think-
fucking like it if it wasn't.
But like, I think that gives them the opportunity to like really figure it out. I don't
Yeah.
think you want to
Right.
be messing with Metal Gear Solid yet, because you could.
It's
really...
crazy. I would love them to.
It is
yeah.
strange because it is your favorite game, Adam. That you're like, well,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
probably
why I
why
don't
you-
want them
I know.
messing
I get
with
you.
it.
I get you. I get
You
you.
know?
Who do you think would be a good studio to outsource this to?
There's this
Like,
little
to me,
company,
the
little
obvious
new
one is-
company,
Yeah.
called. I was about to make a joke. I actually genuinely forgot fucking Hideo Kojima's company name. Is it Kojima Productions?
Well, it wouldn't be. Like, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, but just get him to it.
I
Fine.
get you.
Just get him to it.
I don't know if he would want to, though.
No, I don't think-
He would have no interest in remaking those games.
I'd be more interested in seeing
A fan.
do
it.
a studio of fans really approach it. I think.
Like, to me, Blue Point
Yeah, Blue Point.
seemed like the obvious one, right?
Yeah.
They did a really good job on the HD remaster. Like, it's solid. But then, like, that is solid. But that remake of Demon Souls is
I think
that's what you want.
is
yeah,
phenomenal.
Yeah.
I think it's really funny though. It's like Blue Point have time and time again proven they're
Yeah.
really good at games.
Yeah,
But still but just remake this, will you? Yeah, just remake that. It's like, no, we can make a game. Yeah,
But I
that's
want
nice,
like
but just
they
remake this.
could work their way up to like eventually. I think they will make an original IP.
Yeah. After they
But
remade
now-
everything.
Yeah, but they'll have such a legendary name attached to them. People will give a shit, even though like it's hard to sell an original IP. It really is because if it's not based on anything, it doesn't already have a fandom, you know. And when it is supposedly an original idea, people try and just assume it's something else anyway. You know what I mean? Like, all right, this abandoned thing was a piece of shit, but it's like it's Silent Hill immediately. It must be, and it's like, no, I swear it's not. Well, then it must be Metal Gear Solid. Like, it must be anything other than what it is, because we want it to be. We want it to be something we know. So I think
Is there another like? I mean, Sucker Punch could probably do a pretty good job. Like, I know they're probably got their hands tied, but I think they're.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
They're fairly talented.
Yes.
They're not bad, like.
Yeah.
So here's the interesting thing, right? I think because I remember people saying before, a lot of people forget about Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2, right? And I've heard people say before, and I think like come on, like a Metal Gear Solid remake, whatever order they decide to do it, is inevitable in this climate of remakes. It is. I believe it's a matter of time, right? It's gonna happen eventually. But I remember people saying it's like, yeah, just remake it and slap the Phantom Pain on it. Perfect, right? Like that gameplay. And I'm like, no, absolutely not. Do not do that. However, if someone was to say the Phantom Pain gameplay on the original Metal Gear, I'm like, yes. So those are very different games, right?
Mm-hmm.
How would you see a Metal Gear Solid remake?
Um,
And would it feel like a step backwards if you've done Metal Gear 2, and it's more open and you have options about how you go about it, and then you get to Metal Gear Solid and all those options are taken away?
I wouldn't go full open world with Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2 because they were open areas, but they weren't open world. So it wouldn't be that anyway. It would still be quite linear. It's just you get to kind of choose which way you want to go in it. A lot like the way navigating a warehouse in The Last of Us is, right? And I mean, I think that was one of the things. I think it was Danny actually who said that to me. He's like, you got to check out The Last of Us, right? It's basically Metal Gear with zombies. And I think The Last of Us, way that approached stealth is pretty much what you would want from a Metal Gear. You just want it a little bit more sleek. So like a combination of that and maybe the way the Splinter Cell games have approached stealth. Because you know, he's legendary. He's like, you want this kind of Rambo-ish character too, right? You want to be able to feel like you're not cowering. You want to feel in control of the situation. That's probably a good way about that,
right?
But I think
are you talking for the first two Metal Gears? If they were to be made, that you're talking about them? Or
Yeah,
do you think that approach to Metal Gear Solid would also work?
that would also work with Metal Gear Solid. I just think what's important about Metal Gear Solid is even if you have that type of gameplay, so a combination of like The Last of Us mixed with Splinter Cell, and it's the environment that I think is most important to try capture, which is there's almost a horror aspect a little bit to Shadow Moses.
Mhm.
So it should be like poorly lit corridors and not quite, really have to work out, scanning and reconnaissance, that kind of thing. That would have to be really, really important to do, which is actually a mechanic from the Phantom Pain. You could steal that mechanic, maybe not the tagging thing, but to be able to go to a point and really check to see, well, which way, like where are the guards and stuff like that. Like the ground zeros area of the Phantom Pain, like that's actually not that bad, and you could expand on that for Metal Gear. There just needs to be a little bit more stealth, because I think the ground zeros in the Phantom Pain, what they lacked were things like there were lockers, but they really did lack hiding spots and vents, and there was very little of that, and it needs a lot of that. You need to be able to work in the shadows. So, kind of taking an element of maybe the way Arkham Asylum approaches stealth as well, and obviously not up in the rooftops, but the being able to hide and quickly get away and things like that could be a nice little mechanic in there as well.
Yeah. Eric, what would you like to see
Well,
from a Metal Gear or a Metal Gear Solid remake, whichever one you want to?
Well, Metal Gear, I don't really, other than kind of the basics of the story, I don't know it that much. So just remaking it, I'd be like, all right, I'll give it a go, because I don't really know much about it anyway.
Yeah.
I would have figured that everything was very small little box, and you kind of just work in a little box and go to the next, kind of like a Legend of Zelda. Those old Legend of Zeldas.
It is quite like that actually.
Yeah,
right. But so to me, it wouldn't have been a big open kind of area.
But you wouldn't do that in a remake, though, would you?
Oh yeah.
No, you wouldn't.
Make it a little box.
Shut
like
the
XCOM,
hell up.
man. This is XCOM. You gotta...
Yes, when Final Fantasy VII Remake came out, it should have been polygons. Like, what the fuck? Come on. You wouldn't do it. You just wouldn't do it. It would be...
Of course you would. You're remaking the game. Come on, man.
Yeah, exactly.
So with that, I wouldn't really know how to approach it, because I didn't really play those games.
Yeah.
But for Metal Gear Solid, I did actually, surprisingly enough, like with Adam, what Adam said, I would have actually thought of Splinter Cell as well.
Oh, nice.
But with a bit more, there could sometimes be a bit of a jankiness to its kind of stealthiness, especially if you get like sort of caught. Yeah, so I think a little bit more of a fluidity within combat, sort of.
I think when people say the Phantom Pain, slap that into, I think that's probably the bit they're more familiar with, because that is quite fluid, isn't it, in its combat? Like when
Which bit do you mean? Sorry.
If you get caught in the Phantom Pain, you can quickly take out enemies and stuff like that. You don't feel like, oh, it's game over now. Like you can quickly save the situation, and then
yes and no. Like if you get caught by a guard and goes that slow motion, you take out the gun, you shoot your man. That's sort of it.
Yeah.
If you get caught by 10 guards, you are fucked.
Really?
You are dead.
Consider myself fucked in that situation, because I think it is.
But then I was really bad at the game.
Because I like how you're able to, like, where you're able to run, dive onto your back, turn around and fire like that.
Right.
That motion, that movement wasn't there. I mean, we saw it a little bit in The Last of Us Part 2, right? That wasn't something that was in Last of Us Part 1. That fluidity, I think that's what people are probably thinking of when they say we want to put Phantom Pain on Metal Gear Solid, more so than the open world side of things, because I think it's pretty clear you can't do open world in Shadow Moses.
No, so I think that element of fluidity, having that sort of reaction, is very good. But maybe as well having like better melee as well in it.
Yeah.
So I suppose a bit like Batman, that kind of the fluidity of it's just Arkham Asylum.
Imagine
together, be fine. Be grand. Grapple hook, be great.
But then you also want I feel like I don't know, like because I was replaying Metal Gear Solid and replaying Metal Gear Solid 2, and I'm nervous about being caught. I'm not like, sure, look, if they catch me, I can fucking kill them all.
No, yeah, that's
like
true.
you need to keep that like sense of if I'm caught, I'm fucked.
You need to run and hide,
and I also need to know where is my safety spot that I know I can get back to if this goes wrong as I'm scoping the area out. You know what I mean? I just I like that, and I like the use of the Soliton radar that I really missed in later Metal Gear installments. It's not as prevalent, or it's non-existent really in Phantom Pain. Any kind of radar really, is it? It relies more on the marking.
3 onwards, the radar is pretty much gone, but that's only because
no, it worked in 3, don't get me wrong. I liked the way 3 adapted to, it's like, right, we're in this time period and like you have to use radio instead of codec, and like we're using certain technology, or it's like it's still the same identity, but you can't have a Soliton radar, it doesn't work.
Well, it's from there onwards, it's the gameplay shifted, right? Because when you think about MGS4, like, I mean, why wouldn't he have a Soliton radar? He easily could, but
and I didn't understand why he didn't.
Well, the reason he didn't wasn't a story reason; it was a gameplay reason, right? You had to have the Soliton radar because you weren't able to see what's off the screen, whereas now you're able to rotate the camera to be able to see what's off the screen. I would love a return of the Soliton. I just would like them to try to figure out, maybe there's something with Alien Isolation to try to figure out, a modern approach to the Soliton radar, because it's no point in having something that tells you where someone is if you can see them.
Yes, that makes sense.
Yeah,
but then also it can help with, like, you're about to enter, say, a room or a space, so you can't see the enemy yet, but they could actually they're about to come out as well. So in that sense, the radar was helpful in knowing who's coming up. Not who's right ahead of me, but what's around the corner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like Shadow Moses is hallways and things. It's not open areas.
Yeah, so perhaps the restrictive view, like really poor lighting, like in the police station in Resi 2.
I honestly think Resident Evil 2 remake is the approach to take. I don't mean copy that gameplay, but I mean, like, it captures the kind of essence of the original, but but it's not the same camera angle. It's a camera angle, but it's kind of an evolution of that camera angle, because it's like it's still limited in what I can see, but it's not far out. It's really close to the character.
Far out.
And then it's far out, man. But then they also, like, in terms of making a remake, they looked at what needs to be kept, what needs to be taken out, what needs to be changed. And it's not scene for scene. And I actually think that's the approach.
Oh yeah, no, I agree.
A Metal Gear Solid remake.
I agree.
The Soliton radar.
Yeah.
Right. Is that implanted in Snake, or is that a satellite above Shadow Moses?
No, it's on your screen.
Sorry.
I think he has it on his person.
I think he does. I think it's a gadget he's using.
Oh, well, in that case, then, like Alien Isolation, you would take it out.
You
to
take
see
it
what's
out
around.
rather than...
So you decide when to use the Soliton radar.
As opposed to it being there all the time. Because it would be
that way, then...
It'd be very helpful when it's like... it mightn't be that useful against goons and things like that, but if you introduce a mechanic where they're able to open doors and move between areas, which they never were. They used to always be in certain areas. The Soliton radar will be able to let you know if someone's about to come in through that door. Another area where it would be very beneficial is the wolves.
Yes,
because you can't see where the fuck they are, but the radar will be able to help you now. So you can imagine having to go through the blizzard, and you're like just having the Soliton radar up, and
man. I want this now. But even as well, the when you are first, when you first come up through the elevator, they can have the blizzard there too, like, because they do talk about in the original how it's like you got to be crazy to fly a helicopter in this weather, you know what I mean? Yeah. And when you go back in 4, it's a really, because they have the technology to do it now, it's really blizzard. So even for that first infiltration, when you got to get to the ventilation shaft, that could be, it's like, right, you got to get the Soliton radar up, and it's like, this is nearly your tutorial section for when it's useful and when it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would make it a primary kind of instrument to take out Sniper Wolf in the Blizzard.
Oh
Because
man,
you could really you could learn from things like the end. You could take that sniper battle to a whole new level.
that's the thing. Is, see, I'd be really excited to see how they update or change some of the boss fights. Like some of them, do they need to be full fights, or would an encounter do? Like, it does. Like, I don't know. Like the tank fight, for example. God, I really don't enjoy that tank fight.
No, it's not enjoyable. It's cool though.
It's not enjoyable at all. Throwing the chaff grenades, hoping you get close enough, throwing a grenade, then his thing comes back on you. Now I gotta go run, take cover again. He shoots me twice, I'm dead. My life's not big enough for this fight yet. Like this fight is harder than some of the fights that are to come, and my life is the life bar is too small.
It's tiny.
It's tiny at that point,
like
right?
It's like a Bloodborne game at that point.
Yeah.
But I always like that about Metal Gear is the progressing, which is like similar to the Legend of Zelda in that way. It's the progressing. You get better weapons each time, and you have to pretty much use what's available to you. And I like that approach over like what MGS4 and the Phantom Pain did, which was they pretty much just gave you fucking everything available straight off the bat. Like
they did, but then you also had this thing of like choosing your loadout, or like you had to take out of a backpack that you could only have 5 or 6 weapons at a time. I loved when it was just by
Here's
the end
everything.
of the game, you hold L2 or you hold R2, and this is everything you've collected over time. Does it make sense where you're keeping it? No, I don't care. Like, it doesn't have to make sense. They're breaking the fourth wall the whole time.
Would you like if that stayed, or would you prefer the Resi 2 approach where you have to increase your cash?
Oh,
I think due to the technology, you would probably be able to take cover and peek around walls and stuff like that, and your stealth mechanics would be
Is this
better.
going to answer his question?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
I think having the limit would be the best way to go, especially if you're trying to keep in that sort of horror aspect, because it is a horror. It would be the most horror survival game out of all of them. So I think
Metal Gear Solid. Remember.
Yeah. So I think the limit is the most important.
Well,
I like what.
How much is limit?
Like, what do you mean? Like, do you mean do the whole backpack thing where you have to take it out
like
of that?
MGS3 style, or
do you mean like do a cache?
No, I mean like Resi 2 style.
So you'll have like a cache, you can upgrade your cache, but then also you might have to come back to it to take out a certain. See, the only thing is they'd have to be really mindful of like what you need for specific boss fights.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? The approach of the holding down L2 or R2 meant you always had what you needed at that point in the game for whatever you're going to fight.
Yeah.
Right, but the mechanics are in themselves changing.
Sure.
So, like,
I love how we're just like talking about this as if this is happening. Like, but the mechanics are changing. Welcome to the board meeting for the remake of
we were
Metal Gear Solid.
We were outsourced by Konami to make this.
Yeah, you're all part of the committee now. Throw in your suggestions of what you want to see. I'm curious, actually. Fuck yeah, we're a committee now. We're the Wiseman's Committee. That's another little MGS reference for you. What would you do about the voice acting? I think this one is tricky.
Get all the old actors back.
Do you though?
You would certainly try. Definitely.
Yeah.
I think Hader would be up for it for sure.
He has literally said in an interview. Not only did he say, as far as he knows, they're remaking Metal Gear Solid.
Excellent.
So he said that. He said he heard it from someone who's more of an insider. So he's like, he said, I heard a rumor that they're remaking Metal Gear Solid. So
we all
take
heard
that
rumor.
But he did say, and then the guy who was interviewing him was on a podcast of some kind. The guy who was interviewing him asked, if you were asked to do it, regardless of whether you wanted it or not, could you still do younger Solid Snake? And then David Hayter just started doing it. And then he, like, as the sentence went on, he went up through the ages, and he went,
wow.
So he was like, he's like, I could still do it. It's like, my voice changed because Snake got older, not because my voice changed.
He's great. He should get into voice acting, really.
He should, yeah, that David Hayter guy.
Yeah.
He-
Yeah.
he's actually great to listen to. Talking about
Yeah,
stuff.
he's good.
I enjoy it.
I
But
enjoy.
yeah, I mean, it's hard to think of anyone else doing Solid Snake, isn't it? And then if it is someone else, do they do an impersonation or do they try and make it their own? You
Well, that
know?
was kind of part of the
Mm.
like an issue with like Ground Zeroes.
And yeah,
Snake gets up, and then he pulls up the ghost, and he goes, "Kept you waiting, huh?"
and
And
you're
then
like,
you
huh?
hear
Blah, blah,
Kiefer,
blah.
yeah, you hear Kiefer Sutherland, and you're like,
And every
"Nah, it's
single
not."
one of us had to convince ourselves that this is fine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
much.
There was a bit of lying going on of like, no, it's a good decision. Yeah, it's going to make sense. It's going to be fine.
Yeah.
And then and you're like, no, it wasn't. No, it didn't.
Yeah.
And that's
It's
nothing.
just-
Kiefer Sutherland's a good actor. I'm not nothing against him. He just didn't carry the gravitas that David Hayter gave that character.
Yeah, but it is years. David Hayter doing it for years. We had so many games with David Hayter doing the voice. It's like it'd be like the equivalent of you have Uncharted. All right, they're doing Uncharted 5. Nathan Drake's back in it. And then when Nathan Drake comes on screen,
It's Tom Holland.
It's Tom Holland doing the voice.
I already know that feeling.
Know it all too
You
well.
know, like they just get someone else. You're like, that's not right. That's not
Is there
right.
any? All right, so David Hayter, Solid Snake, you cannot recast, right? That's not happening. It's David Hayter. End of story.
Right. Yeah.
Is there anyone else that's an absolute no? You cannot touch this.
Cam Clark is Liquid Snake.
Yeah,
I think you got to get back to two brothers, and I think there are some characters who you can actually get new actors to give them new life or change them up a bit. Like even like I wouldn't be stuck on the original Psycho Mantis voice actor, the original Vulcan Raven voice actor. I
Weren't
think
they
Patrick
all changed by Twin Snakes? I don't think they're all the OG guys.
not all of them, I don't think, but definitely some of them. Yeah, some of
Yeah,
them
like
were
I
changed.
know. Gray
I think
Fox-
those two were.
Gray Fox was changed.
He's another one you can change because there's so much modification going on with the voice anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Patrick Zimmerman, I think you got to get back.
I think you can change him. Get this Patrick Lane guy up.
I think it's Pat Lane. Or would they get
It's
Troy
probably
Baker?
not that at all.
They'd probably ask Troy Baker after he did Phantom
Oh.
Pain. But I would prefer Zimmerman.
Yeah, no, get Zimmerman back. You get Jennifer Hale back for Naomi.
Well, she wasn't the original, was she? I don't think so.
I think she was. I don't
Was
know
she?
what the fuck happened to that accent. Yeah, I think she
Yeah,
really was.
I thought she was, and she had the English accent, and
You
then
can 100% change Melee.
no,
that's
Kim
the
May
same.
guessed.
That's
What do you
Kim May
mean that's
guessed.
the same? That is not the same.
That's the same.
It's the same actor.
Shut the
Same.
fuck up.
I know, right? It's like, what the hell happened to your accent?
What was she doing?
I don't know.
She was doing Chinese, I think. We're
um,
trying. No, you keep Kim May guest, and you keep Hal Emmerich. You keep him.
oh yeah, actually, Christoph Randolph. Is that his name? Christoph Randolph?
No, Isn't that
Christopher-
Christopher Randolph?
Christopher Randolph. That's it. Sorry, Christoph Randolph. Christopher Randolph. Yeah, I would try to get him back too. I
Yeah.
think Otacon. I think
And
even though that voice, I don't know. He made that voice
was brought
iconic.
back for Phantom Pain too.
yeah.
How weird is
And
that?
That's a different guy and everything.
Yeah, Huey,
Huey,
right?
Yeah. So you change Ocelot. You
That's
change
bizarre.
Snake, but
Why would you do that?
Like it's mental.
It is weird. That is weird.
And they actually
Bring back
literally
Colonel.
added nothing to it. I'm pretty sure maybe Kojima was trying to tank this game by just spending money in
Sure.
places where it
It
shouldn't
wasn't
have.
needed. It wasn't necessary. Yeah, maybe. I think you could nearly take a in terms of like the voice cast, you could nearly take a Batman Arkham Asylum approach with it, where you're looking at, say, the animated series is the OG,
Yeah.
and you're going, okay, which of these actors is like, come on, you gotta get back Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill, right? And there's a couple of them where you're like, you gotta get them back.
Yeah.
But then there's others who are like, do we need that person, or could we, give another actor a go at this character? Because
Well, I think
so there's a couple like that, I think.
with the Metal Gear, like if you're doing one,
Yeah,
Metal Gear Solid 1,
right.
everyone is going to suspect that you're going to do 2, 3, and 4. So I think you have to go with the ones that are going to stay in it the longest, and you need the OG.
See, that's
The
interesting
ones
because
that are not going to be.
I don't think that's a guarantee. I think if they announced Metal Gear Solid as a remake, the others might just be put out as HD collection, but for modern consoles.
Right, but like
Sold at 70 quid.
it's sold 70 quid, yeah.
But for
okay,
that many games though.
Even if they weren't remade, but I suppose look at it like that. I suppose it's like if these were, it's like you get the original, and the ones that don't last throughout the games, you know, they can be changed. I mean, that's the goal. You might not get all of them back.
No, you might not. Actually, you mentioned Colonel as well, Eric. Do you think Colonel is one that needs
Oh yeah, it's Colonel.
Yeah, that voice is great, isn't it?
Great
he
voice.
is the Colonel from Rambo, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
He does not know anything about any missiles.
There's something about as well the recording quality of the first Metal Gear Solid. Like it's not crisp, and I think they talk about, like David Hayter's mentioned this before, how the recording is just not crisp at all. And actually, I think that's some of the like. There's an aesthetic to it that's really, really nice. It's almost like when you watch an 80s movie and there's just something kind of tangible about it. Like, I would nearly want them to try and replicate the shitty recording of the codec.
Right. And but I don't know how possible that is now, because that is literally due to how much they had to compress it.
Yes.
To blank out the sound of traffic. And then to just and then to get it onto a CD.
Yeah.
But now we're talking about putting it on Blu-ray discs. You know what I mean? So I don't know if you could get it even if you purposely tried. I don't think you could get it kind of to that quality.
You know what? Just to get it to that quality or lack of would probably end up being a larger file.
Probably would actually. Yeah, because of all the like interlays and stuff. Yeah,
there's just something about like keeping the kind of the like retro vibe of it as well. I think would be nice. But the score then, right? Would you want it rescored? Like well, it'd have to be, wouldn't it? But
it has to be rescored.
But is it like the Final Fantasy VII remake approach, or
that's what I would want?
Or do you want like what was there, but just recorded at better quality?
I think I would like the Final Fantasy VII remake approach, where it's like the tunes are absolutely recognizable, you know them immediately, but they have been reorchestrated by someone who knows the music so well. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Again, though, for me, like one of the things I really love about Metal Gear Solid is that it kind of, the music reminds me of GoldenEye. Right.
Yeah,
it has that.
The whole setting does.
Yeah, it has like that clank sound every now and then.
Yeah.
And there's that kind of when you're in the tank hangar, it's almost like the building itself is making the music.
Yeah,
and I wouldn't want a big swell orchestra. Like, it doesn't have those big moments that Final Fantasy VII has.
No, but it doesn't have to be reorchestrated to that quality either. Do you know what I mean? It's I just mean that they could be very faithful, nearly recreations of the music, but like if there's a point where it's like, this is a good point actually to like stick in
like the helicopter fight,
like Psycho Mantis's hymn mixed in with something else. Like, this is a good point to do that because we're hinting at Psycho Mantis. Or, you could have a little bit of fun with the orchestration is all I mean. But like, I would want there's one track in particular that I would want just perfectly recreated. And that's The Best Is Yet to Come. I wouldn't want that reorchestrated, or I wouldn't want that rearranged. That's the word.
Yeah, I mean, every time they do
just...
that, I think they do it quite faithfully. Like, even when The Phantom Pain came out, what's the one who did the Sins of the Father song? But she did a cover of The Best Is Yet to Come.
Did she?
Yeah.
What's her name? Aoife Nee something or other?
The original singer, yeah.
Oh, sorry, I'm thinking of the original singer. Yeah,
the original singer.
I don't know who did that one.
But yeah, even that was really, really good.
Yeah. Eric, what would you want them to do with the music?
Oh, well, I think a Final Fantasy VII remake approach.
Mm-hmm.
But like hearing Adam talk, like how he would love the old style recording of the voices and the old style recording of the music. I'm surprised that you are not that you were talking about revamping the gameplay. Not just going. I want like the old style gameplay, the polygons.
Yeah. I want everything the same.
Just keep it the same, but make it 16:9.
Well, I just love how like Alien Isolation, for example, is a game where I don't think that game would have as much of an impact on me if it wasn't for when you walk in and you hear the computers like booting up and it's the really old sound of them, and then you just get the sound of this it's the score, but it's really iconic Alien score. I think if you remove those elements from it, that's actually probably not a great game. Like that's what really makes it, is those like vintage sounds. So, yeah.
You see, if I were to play a remake of Metal Gear Solid, I want to be taken back to 2005. You know.
Well, no, I want to be taken back to 1998.
98's version of 2005,
which takes me forward to 2005. That's what.
Yeah. That's exactly. Yeah, that is it. Wow. Why was the game set in 2005? Why that year?
Because DARPA didn't start developing those walking dogs until that year, and
Kojima foresaw.
How
did he know?
He saw their letter going, "We're going to start making these robots in 2005." Oh, good to know. I'll base my game there.
But he doesn't. There's no walking dogs in Metal Gear Solid, is there?
No, but it's fucking robots, man.
Robots.
Robots for the army.
Yeah.
There's no.
DARPA started making them in real life.
In fact.
No.
Oh yeah, no, I know that because I did see the video of the dog, the walking dog.
So
thing.
Scary. Look that up, guys. Look up the robot dog.
Boston
It's terrifying.
Dynamics.
And it's like they try to kick it over on the ice just to show you how it can balance itself in a situation. And you're like, why? Why is this? Why are you making this?
Well, I've seen one recently enough now that is armed with a gun.
Yeah. What?
Yeah.
Why? Why are you doing this?
Honestly, I'm pretty sure they'll try put a gun on anything.
Yeah. I'll put a gun on you.
Yeah. I mean,
we've had this debate for years off podcast about the whole like AI and like should they make robots for war and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's always led to very heated debates off podcast. Yeah, I tend to believe the filmmakers and the game makers and their very bleak version of that.
The kind of
don't do it.
philosophical
It's
lessons.
Yeah. It's like maybe we should heed some warnings. And it's like, and the Jurassic Park thing actually, which is like, you spent so long figuring out if you could do it, you never stopped to think, should you do it?
That's happened though.
There is a university in Texas bringing back the woolly mammoth.
That's true.
But it's going to take a
least
couple
they're
of years to
going
do it. And
Okay.
I'm thinking to myself, that is the worst location to bring back the woolly mammoth. Maybe bring it back in Canada or Alaska.
Move that lab. Move that lab.
I don't know where I saw it. Just the headline was a chicken born with dinosaur legs.
Is that on all birds?
Yeah, I was just like, so what? that's just chicken legs.
That's just chicken legs. All birds have dinosaur legs.
Yeah, I don't know what they meant by that, but
no.
Okay.
I just imagined tiny chicken and these giant fucking T-Rex legs coming from it.
Now, would that be a true
like the movie style? The movie style T-Rex is probably what they mean.
Would that be a true basilisk then?
Yeah, maybe. Are there any genuine things you would want changed or removed from a Metal Gear Solid remake?
Oh, I think they definitely need to restructure how the story is delivered.
Yeah,
right.
You can't do cutscenes that long nowadays. It's not a good idea.
And most of it actually can probably be told through while you're playing as well.
Do you think like the codec should come up with something that like as you're walking, the codec is on screen? Or do you think that's something that it should actually interrupt the screen?
Yeah, well, to be honest, they're probably, as much as I would love the codec for its like nostalgia and the drawings and stuff are really cool. It'll probably just be like in any other game where you just hear, like in Spider-Man when you're swinging through the city, you hear the voice coming through on the radio.
Mm.
And
But
he's
you
just
know,
talking.
like in Spider-Man, you know the way, like, say Yuri is talking to him and her face comes up and the speech is beside it. Couldn't they have like the drawing of Colonel or Naomi, whoever's talking, come up and the kind of, and that same little upside down L-shaped thing and the codec is
I
beside
think
it?
they
Maybe.
could do a happy balance of it. I think at certain points they could stop it to, like when he's talking on the codec and he's in prison.
Right. Yeah.
Like you don't need to play gameplay there because you're in a
Yeah,
4
there's
foot by
moments.
4 foot cell, so you could do it there.
Or like that Master Miller twist. You can't have that happening and you're in the middle of shooting people. And
Yeah. Because like that's one of the issues actually with that's one of the issues with Metal Gear Solid 5.
Can you see them though? Can you ever actually see them?
I don't
No,
know.
but do you not like, and that's one of the things that's getting pointed out by that podcast I've listened to, and it is hilarious. And I forgot some of the dialogue, and some of it is fucking gas. But like they're pointing out how there's so many fourth wall breaks. Like it's really fourth wall breaky, not just the Psychomantis stuff, like all throughout. And that's one of them where it's like they acknowledge that we can see, but clearly you can't see the codec, right? So he takes off the shades and lets in the hair liquid. But like the also like some of the dialogue makes no sense, like zero sense. Where it's like like Psycho Mantis when he's like dying and he's giving his big monologue about how he is like looked into the brain of every person and their need to procreate. Basically, everyone's need to have sex disgusted him and he wanted to kill them all. And he goes, "But you're different, Snake." And Snake has literally been hitting on every single woman he has spoken to for the whole fucking game, right? And then he goes, he's looked into Snake's heart and he's like, "You're worse than me. That gives me peace." And it's like, how is he worse than him? He had literally just given a monologue about how he wanted to kill as many people as possible just for wanting to have sex. And Snake then goes and like risks his life to save Meryl and stuff. It's gas. It is gas.
That's where you're wrong. Psycho Mantis wants to kill. Solid Snake has
killed or has to kill.
Has killed.
Right. Psycho Mantis is killed too, though, right? Like Foxhound has done plenty.
I'm pretty sure he probably has, but I don't know. Like sometimes, like with Raiden's, requirements to get into the fucking military, it's like they kind of make a big deal out of like, oh, you killed someone. Here you go.
Yeah.
It's almost like the 007 thing, isn't it? It's like get 2 kills, you get a 00 status. It's like, really?
But it's like, clearly you've surely done more than that, right?
Yeah. I fucking hope so.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say you didn't get that commander status. Just like
right, you're like reports. 1947, an American soldier wants to get 00 status. You gotta get 2 kills.
Well, man, American soldier can't get 00 status. Are you crazy?
Let me finish my joke.
It was flawed from the get-go. It was flawed from the get-go.
It was built up to one hell of a punchline. It was great.
Go again. Hold on. Go again.
All right.
Can't it be a British soldier?
I really want to hear it.
No, because the British soldier didn't drop a nuke at Hiroshima.
Oh, well, that's mean. Actually, that's what a lot of this game is about, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is about nukes. I think keep that stuff. Well,
you have to, because
absolutely
that's what Metal Gear is.
But yeah, just rejig how you're telling that story, so you're not having a 4-hour long cutscene.
Yeah, cut down the cutscenes for sure. And I think you could add in,
areas like where you do have the prison cell, for example, right? There has to be additional things to do.
Yeah. But I think as well you could add in, right? So I would open the game exactly how it opens in the original, all the way up to the elevator and the name reveal, right? Yep. But then I would actually cut back, right? So like you come up and like it's snowing. Mm-hmm. But with the snow, I would transition to, so instead of the briefing being an optional thing in the menu, I would make that a playable part where you're Snake in the wilderness in Alaska with your huskies, your 50 huskies. They're my only buddies. There's a dog sled race coming up. Carlo's like, get your act together, will you, Snake? But anyway, I would put that in the game. And then you get your briefing and you get like, a file thrown down in front of you and you get a lowdown on Foxhound members and everything. And it's more visual. It's not just the kind of drawing style that they had in the original. And then with the snow, you could transition right back to now you're in Shadow Moses. little additions like that you could like insert
Okay.
into the game.
What if they do just make Metal Gear Solid Remake?
Yes, right. But you play the events of Metal Gear.
Flashback moments that go back to like pivotal parts of the Metal Gear 1 and 2.
Now you're talking 100%. So like, for
Like,
example,
could you imagine having to fight
the minefield boss fight with Grey Fox?
Could you imagine like as you're fighting Grey Fox, like you boom bang bang, and then you hit a punch, right? And then as you landed that punch, the whole scene changes, and you're now on a minefield. And he's not there. You're like trying to find him, and it's like switching between the two fights.
That would be fantastic.
That's where they will really have to improve the melee combat of the game.
Well, they would, because like nowadays, like they just would.
I know, but the melee combat wasn't even that good in 5.
Right.
I mean,
okay.
It was never it was never really needed. It wasn't a big component. But when you look at the melee fight, like in MGS4, that they really made that work just for that end fight, didn't they? They like, it was you know, they kind of
you would make it that you would
moment.
For that moment you would do it, as opposed to for it being like that all the time.
Yeah.
But that's a fucking phenomenal idea. And as well, then you can have flashbacks to Big Boss throughout, so that it's leading up to the big twist of the Les Enfants Terribles. But now, if this is your first time playing a Metal Gear game, you're getting all of that context within the one game.
Yeah.
And who Big Boss is and all that stuff.
Yeah,
but
it's
it's
probably
more playable. That's a fantastic idea, because then Metal Gear Solid Remake is exciting, but you're still getting the backstory of the Metal Gear games, and not in a menu that you read, because you can read it in the original, but that's not the same as playing it and experiencing it. And plus, it would make that game it'd make the game a bit long, because the game is actually, if you cut out the cutscenes, it's not a long game.
No, it's not long.
So that's certainly a way you can expand it.
Would you still have the whole, oh shit, Meryl just got shot, you stay there, I'm gonna run back half of...
I would change that 100%. You're not going back that far for a sniper. That's ridiculous.
I would probably keep him there, and he doesn't have a sniper rifle at that point. You just need to try and make your way up.
Oh, you just gotta find a way to sneak up and take on Sniper Wolf?
Yeah, but she's obviously not there. She just...
I think the alternative is you do have a sniper, and Meryl is pinned, but you can't come out into the open, and you got to do a sniper fight or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then you think you've won, and then you go over and check on Meryl, and then the guards come out and surround you, and Sniper Wolf comes out, and you both get kidnapped. And from then on, you don't know what Meryl's fate is.
Yeah.
And I think you've just achieved the same thing, but you've just rejigged it in a way that doesn't make it go all the way back. And then when you finally come back and you get a flashback of Meryl, it's like that happened about half an hour ago. You know, like there's no need for that, really.
Yeah.
You know, but stuff like that.
You have to they have to watch the guards walk to be able to find Merle.
Yeah, and see that it'd be interesting to see like how do they rejig some of that stuff, like, you know.
Because that's some of that stuff might not fly. In fact, yeah, some of the dialogue he has might not fly.
Absolutely not. Yeah. And yeah, the Meryl thing, like, I don't. I think you would change that. It wouldn't be a thing of like just focus on the way they're walking. Maybe it'd be something more like not this exact thing, but like there's a really cool bit in MGS2 where to find someone, you have to use a directional mic and listen out for a pacemaker. So like if they find some other little feature where you got to get close enough to the guards and something will click that identifies that is Meryl, right? I don't know what it would be.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be
an
tricky.
X-ray scanner.
All you have to do is just go around and observe very closely whoever has their weapon on safety. That's Meryl.
Oh my god, can you imagine? You haven't even taken off the safety, rookie.
Find someone with the most, like, I don't know, father disappointment.
What, go up and ask all the guards? Surely then it would just the voice would give it away. They're the only female guard.
Yeah, but no, you have a mic down. You're just listening out for this.
What? They're just walking around talking. Meryl isn't talking because they'll give herself away. I hate my dad. Shut up, Johnny. Oh man, they could do more with Johnny. I really want
you gotta
this
bring
to
back
happen.
Johnny.
You know what? Well, they would, but you know the dream now. This is the dream. You ready? for this is that at the Game Awards this year, they announced the Metal Gear Solid Remake in a trailer.
That sure is a dream.
Right? That is the dream. But then what to do is, and the entire Metal Gear Solid collection is now available on PlayStation Plus. So like right now, they've launched up. So everyone goes and plays it all and is anticipating Metal Gear Solid Remake. But here's the real dream. They announced Metal Gear Solid Remake, and it's coming next year, because next year is the 25th anniversary of Metal Gear Solid, which would mean in 1 year we would get Resident Evil 4 Remake, Metal Gear Solid Remake, and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and gaming can just stop.
No,
how fucking
no.
amazing would that be?
You still want the third one of Final Fantasy VII.
Oh, sorry. Yes, gaming
After that, gaming can stop.
But you know what? That's my dream anyway. I think that would be incredible. If they could line that up, it'd be like,
embrace your dreams,
well done.
Chris.
Wow.
Motivation from Adam.
Isn't that a Zach?
That's
fair?
Zach. Yeah. And protect your honor. It's a soldier. But I would love to hear from all of you guys. Jump down in the comments if you watch this on YouTube to share your thoughts, not only on when you'd like to see Metal Gear Solid, but would you like to see more entries in the Metal Gear Solid franchise, or would you just like to see a remake of Metal Gear 2, or Metal Gear Solid? And what would you like to see from those remakes? What additions would you like? What changes would you like? Let us know your thoughts. If you enjoyed the discussion, why not give us a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and ring the notification bell for all future content. And for all of you listeners on audio platforms, and you can also touch base with us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Brothers Take, again, to give your take on Metal Gear Solid. And happy 35th anniversary to the Metal Gear franchise. Thank you very much for listening, everybody. We'll be back to talk to you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.